everybody, and welcome back to 31 Days of Indie Horror. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I'm here with my special guest who hasn't been on this one, but she was on a similar one, I think my first time watch Fridays. Please welcome
Stephanie.
Stephanie. Stephanie's back. You also might know she's been in I think she's been in Indie Film Cafe, so she's no stranger to these review shows that we do. And so we're going to be talking about The Legend of Halloween Jack, a movie that you probably never heard of, I'm going to guess.
Not until you asked me to watch it. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
And it was a film made in the UK. It's actually, I should have got you at some point. I'll get you a Japanese one because I know you like that culture a little bit more and stuff. But I want to get you like a indie Japanese one that
A
not
horror.
just yeah, but horror, kind of thing. So I think you like it. Like those kind of things. But this is the UK one. It's directed by Andrew Jones, who um he for a long time he was like making movie after movie after movie. And then he died, unfortunately. For undisclosed reasons, but I know he was sick in bed for a while and
Mhm.
it was something I don't know if it was COVID related or something, but he unfortunately passed and he was young. He was, I think, only in his 30s, maybe 40s when he passed. And so, very sad. But he is very much known for the Robert movies, which Paul will know a lot of those. But Robert the Doll, which are these just rip off of Annabelle. I mean,
Ah, got it. Yep.
they're the
I've seen that
male
one.
Annabelle. You've seen those?
Yeah, but I haven't seen Manabelle. I've only seen Annabelle.
Is there a Manabelle?
No, there isn't. You just said man, Annabelle, so I said.
Oh, Manabelle. That would be that.
Ba-dum.
That and your our buddy Dave, Cinema Sickness, he calls his van Vanabelle.
Oh,
um,
that's so right. I just thought, yeah, he does.
yeah, then every time and that's because every time you go in a video he would say he'd see a doll or something, he'd go Annabelle, whether it's an Annabelle looking doll or not, it didn't matter. It's just the joke, a running
Mhm.
gag or whatever. But yeah, so Robert the Doll, and then this I think this was gonna be like a franchise kind of thing because
Hmm.
he did this one in 2000, I want to say 2018, and then 2019 he did The Curse of Halloween Jack, so a sequel to it. And I think if he had continued doing films, he would have probably done at least one more to make a trilogy, if not more, but unfortunately we were not lucky enough to get that. And
Hmm.
I think a lot changed in 2020, and I think that changed his filmmaking too, I believe, like the producing and making of films back then. But I remember seeing, I mean, this is not the first time, it's not a first time watch for me. I've seen this actually like I think three times by now. And
Hmm.
I mean I don't hate it, but I mean it's not my favorite, but it's got the story I generally like, right? So the story I generally like is sort of like the Freddy, stuff of like person dies and then, comes back to life in some form, or whatever.
Hmm.
And or Chucky. Chucky's very much known for that because he died and then he could win to the soul of the doll, you know. Jack Frost, the Killer Snowman movie. Have you ever seen that?
I've seen bits of it. I don't think I've seen the whole thing, but yeah.
So yeah, we did Jack Frost, and then later for IFC we did Jack Frost 2, which is so much fun. That was like where he goes to a tropical island. Yes, a snowman on a tropical island. Don't tell me how it worked. It they just made it work because nobody cared. Like it
Sounds
was,
campy and fun.
yeah. Like where else were you gonna go? Were you gonna have another, thing where he was in the snow again? Like the same movie, the next movie's gotta be on a tropical island. It could have been in space. Now, if they do a third one ever, I would love to see Jack Frost in space. But yeah, so that was basically this is the idea of um now there was a little bit of a twist in this movie. And the twist was he was not a killer at all,
Hmm.
right? Like,
Well, yeah, I had a feeling because why would he seek vengeance if he was the killer? That's how I felt about it.
well, because they killed him. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, I guess it just to me, I was like, he's like, oh no, you really want to do this? Oh no, and then bang, he's with the blood splatter that magically disappears because it was CGI and they didn't actually use any kind of blood bags or whatever, fake blood bags. But yeah, I had a feeling, but it was nice that he wasn't the kid. It was nice that it had like that funk to it.
Right. No, I totally agree. I was happy about that because by the end of it, I mean, I don't know. Were you supposed to feel sympathy for the guy though? Like,
No, I
I
didn't.
mean, it was weird because like when you find out, oh, he's been with me this whole time, and
Hmm.
like, of course, they ask that question of like, why didn't you come forward? And they're like, oh, you never would have believed us. Well, it's would have saved that dude's life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And now he's seeking vengeance because of magic, I guess. I don't know. That was the only thing I didn't like about the movie was it didn't really show the magic at all.
Yeah.
Like I would have loved if somehow or another because they kind of just it was weird because I don't did he even say a year later? I don't even remember that necessarily.
Yeah, and then yeah, it was just like he just shows up.
Right. So
And it's like we never it's just like, oh, there's that scarecrow thing. I guess he came back to life. Yeah.
which was weird because he like I guess he died like a scarecrow, looking like a scarecrow, but why?
I was thinking that was like a shame tactic and in a way like to yeah, I felt it was a shame tactic.
Because I originally thought what what I thought was gonna happen, and I had seen it before, like I said, and I still forgot like things. Because no offense, but this movie is kind of forgettable. I think like a little bit. And so I think like in a couple days I'll just like it'll be erased from my memory. Oh yeah, I reviewed that movie. Um, there was that. So when yeah, what I thought was going to happen was because they kind of had him like tied to the tree or whatever, and I thought he was going to be like it was going to look like a scarecrow, right? And then eventually the cops would find the body,
Yeah.
right? And then they would take it down and they would bury him, or
Mhm.
whatever and stuff like that. And then he would be buried as like a scarecrow or something, right? But I guess he was sort of buried as the scarecrow because they made him up like the scarecrow, then later buried him.
Mhm.
So I guess that's why he came back as one. But
Yeah, that made sense to me. Yeah. And honestly, it would be no fun if he was just a zombie. Like I really liked his hoaxy outfit. It was fun. Like that was the one thing I liked about the movie was the costuming for the scarecrow. I liked it.
yeah, it was a cool looking costume. Like, there he is. Sort of. Kind of see him over there, but there's ones that looks better on him. I like that he got to have that little scythe, you know, like he
Yeah,
found
yeah, yeah.
that, and
I like how he liked to like manhandle all the weapons. He's just like,
yeah, close up of his hands and shit. And
mhm.
I, you know, uh, another thing I will say that was actually I liked about this movie was that the direction was decent, like the cinematography
That I was
and
impressed. Yeah,
yeah, like the
for the
look of it.
budget. Hmm.
Yeah, for that budget, like it looked like there was one part where they're going over the pumpkins, and I was like, "Whoa, that looks kind of cool." Like it was probably a drone or something, but like
Hmm.
the way they shot it just looked kind of cool. Um, the music was terrible. Um, I will say I did not like the music because they had like one song that they played over and over again that just drove me nuts. And it didn't even I read the subtitles, and unless they just messed up the subtitles, it made no sense what they were saying.
Mm.
I don't, you know what I'm talking about when the disc jockey girl, the cop's daughter, I guess, is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is working at the she's a DJ or whatever, and she's playing the music and in the music is like this I don't know what I thought it was like something that's probably like public domain like music like you
Yeah.
can no copyright and stuff. So but and it sounds horror like it sounds Halloween like. So, instead of having like Monster Mash or something like that, which probably costs money,
Hmm.
to get these like really cheesy 50s style stuff, but the lyrics just made no sense.
And it
And
was off tune for the times of the movie.
yeah, but it did like twice, like in the beginning and then or whatever, like when they showed it was Halloween again after a year, and then I guess a year later, when she goes to that grave or right before she goes to the grave and she's still doing it in like remembrance of her father, which by the way, we're gonna get into and I hated all that too. Like that was another thing I thought was stupid. But yeah, I guess to kind of explain the plot of it, as we kind of did a little bit, but like basically a serial killer or a guy accused of being a serial killer gets let free because the cop is a moron, I guess. Didn't read
He
him
didn't
his
read him
rights.
his rights, and then they just said, "Let's throw it in the trash." You can't. Like the judge was like, "You done fucked. Oh, sorry, you done messed up. Like, you
You can
can't."
curse.
Oh, okay. He's like, "You done messed up. You didn't read his rights. Case closed, canceled." And like, oh my God, it was so strange. Like it seems very unrealistic for how, like, it wouldn't I don't think it would have made it that far into the court if he
Yeah.
wasn't read his rights. But again, it wasn't really meant to be like what's it called, accurate to how the court system really
No.
works. But when they were all like standing up like ahead and looking down, like, oh, and I'm like, I've never seen anyone in a courtroom up in the stands like
I think
that. That
that's a
was also very
British thing.
strange.
I think that's a British thing.
Oh,
You
duh.
know,
That
so
makes
I think
sense.
that no, but I get it because you're watching it, even though you can hear the accents and everything, you're probably still thinking American court stuff.
And
You-
it's so funny they all have accents, and I'm still thinking of it as an American movie. I mean, I guess that's just our spoiled American mindsets, right?
No, no, it's because like movies like this are very much American like. They are. This is the closest thing to an American, UK movie. Basically,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I get it. It's like Shaun of the Dead. A lot.
Yes, I liked that one, but I knew it wasn't. Yeah.
Right, and they have the accents, and they're shot in England, and that has a bigger budget, so it's got cooler stuff going on, But I don't know, it was I don't know, it was interesting. So I like I didn't mind them being up in the thing. I didn't like them going and getting mad. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And why is that judge saying order, or I mean, I don't know if how it is in England. But yeah, he said he didn't read him his rights. Do you have a lawyer?
I
I
don't. I don't think he did. I
I
think he
don't
was
think he
just
did.
chilling.
I think he was the lawyer, his own lawyer. Maybe he knew he was gonna get off because of the, technicality or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he was like, why get a lawyer? When I'm gonna be free in a few minutes anyway. And plus he didn't do it, So he probably had nothing to really worry about. All he had to do was like, oh, if he had gone to court, he, and they had the trial, he would have just had his friends come in as witnesses and say, he was with me. And
Hmm.
even though that's the problem is like literally if somebody does say that, you have no idea if they were with you or not, you know,
Hmm.
unless there was like a time-stamped proof that the person was there. Because, I see all these lawyer or like cop shows and everything, Law and Order and stuff, and they were like, I was with blah 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 at, that time, right? And then unless like they'll be like, they'll go to that person's house and say, was this person with you? They're gonna say yes most of the time. I mean, I'm sorry if one of your best friends cop came to your door and said, was so and so with you the whole time? you're not gonna say no, she was not, right?
Oh, I'd probably tell the truth.
Okay, all right. Well,
I'm terrible. I'm terrible. I would tell the truth.
you would tell the truth. You
I
you would
would.
feel guilty about it or
So
something.
if
Like,
you murder somebody, do not use me as an alibi. I will tell them that you were
okay.
not with me. I am not, can't.
That's the I always like think about it because like they go, um, yeah, hey, I'm gonna check your alibi, right? And they like leave. What doesn't like why don't they think like somebody's not gonna call that person up and say, hey, cops are coming over, say I was with you, the whole time. And sometimes they do in the shows or whatever, but most of the time, like, whatever. Uh, in those cases, pretty much the cops usually, win, kind of thing,
Mhm.
and get who the person is arrested, the right person, you know. So I don't know. But in this case, it was the wrong person. And just because I guess he does look creepy, the guy looked kind of
Yeah, his hair wasn't the best.
I know, but it wasn't even the same guy, by the way, that played the actual killer Scarecrow. Did you know that?
I didn't until I looked at the casting and it said Halloween Jack was Lee Bain, and that is a different person.
Yeah, he actually worked on the crew or something too. So he was, which I always think is interesting when a crew member is like, I guess also a stunt person or whatever, because
Yeah,
that's basically what the
versatile.
yeah, and that's basically what the anybody who dresses up in a mask is a stunt person,
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah. Hmm.
Jason is in a mask, for Friday the 13th, then all of a sudden, Jason is a stunt person because he's falling backwards or he's
Hmm.
whatever. So, anyway, I don't, it was interesting to see he was also a crew member, Lee Bain. Um, and I mean, I think he also did the voice of him or something too, maybe. I don't know.
Hmm.
Or did
Yeah,
he
it
even?
looks like it was William Hogan was the guy who was the non-murderer who became dead murder man, the scarecrow. But yeah,
But he didn't
interesting.
come back for the sequel, by the way. He was not
Huh?
for Curse of Halloween Jack, you know.
Mhm.
So I guess they just got him for that one day, because no, not one day, maybe 2 days or whatever,
Two-day
and then
filming. Hmm.
yeah, filming, and then just shot him literally, and then
I mean, they used green screen for a ton of it, and until I'm assuming the shooting, But yeah.
yeah, and then yeah, yep, and then all of a sudden they move on and kind of they kill the guy who they think is the person because instead of letting justice and even the cop man that's another thing that irked me is like that cop was like a pretty good cop, you know? I just don't see him becoming all vigilante with them, you know, and everything.
No.
Like I I would have preferred if he hadn't been there. So I get it. Like he's supposed to have like this guilt, and stuff, and but even then, when he's like explaining all that guilt, I'm like, you don't seem that guilty to me. I don't know. Like, yeah, like I don't feel that way with you. I feel like you're just saying you're guilty, or you feel guilty. I don't like.
Mhm.
Not that the guy was a bad actor. It's just the way, I guess, the way that he was presented. And so, but he was one of the killers of this poor guy who did not do it, other than be part of an occult, you know, group of people, I guess warlocks would be what they are.
Yeah, they
Um,
call it the Halloween Jack and slash Warlock, who was also Fleabane. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
there you go. And so he ends up, well, so yeah, so he ends up basically dying, going, getting buried out in somewhere out whatever in the woods. And then he wakes or the 1 year later, I guess the guy is one of the guys feels guilty or whatever and commits suicide, right?
Yes. Well, wasn't he technically the first one murdered and they called
Yeah,
it a suicide? And
I think
then,
so. Yeah, they thought it
yeah,
was a suicide, but I think was he murdered? Because I don't. That was
he
so
was murdered,
confusing there.
but he was the most guilty. But it seemed like he was murdered by the scarecrow first. So
Right.
he went, yeah, and but he made it look like a suicide, but then the rest of them afterwards
Were
looked like
murders.
murders.
Yeah, it looked like murders. Yeah. I mean, when people are getting like them chopped up and stuff like that, it's not really, and even then they're like, oh, it was a suicide, but then they were like, he looks really bloody here, and I'm like, did I don't think this was, I would not have marked this as a suicide, or whatever, Um,
Hmm.
but I guess they wanted to believe that more than they wanted to believe that Halloween Jack was back, or whatever.
That would be too silly.
That would be too, because they talk about that too, or whatever later. So anyway, so the Halloween Jack is going around murdering all the people who, the vigilantes and stuff, um, and then the other guy, there was the one like the leader of the group. I forgot his name.
Was
Um,
it Grizzly?
was that his name?
The redhead? He was kind
Yeah,
of the most angry. So yeah, yeah. Grizzly
yeah,
Joe Johnson.
and he murdered like the mother or something. I guess it was.
Yeah, yeah, he just snapped. Yeah.
Yeah, and murdered her. And I was like, why are we having another murder? That's
I
not
didn't.
Halloween Jack.
I'm glad I'm not wasn't the only one that went. But why though? But
But
why? And then he doesn't succeed in it, so then he chokes her out in the least choky thing I've ever seen.
that was awful because
Yeah.
I would have loved if they had left it alone where she wasn't dead but she pretended to be dead, so he thought she was dead because he literally was going to leave. Like, she didn't have,
Right.
had she not just started screaming or whatever
Right.
and everything.
She wasn't so dramatic about
Yeah.
being beaten.
Yeah, or almost killed. Like she
Yeah.
was she was I think she was stabbed, wasn't she? Like or something. Maybe
Was it?
she was beaten.
Yeah.
Uh
Beaten. Was that the cupcake lady? No, no, the cupcake lady was later.
the
Loved that.
cupcake lady was when the guy went whoosh.
Yep. He like
That was
grabs.
how
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, yeah, you know. I think yeah, it was just
this lady was just I think the mother of the and I think the idea was that she might know too much. He thought,
that's. But it didn't connect for me. It didn't.
but I don't think she did. She
Neither.
said she didn't know anything. So like, and it sounded like if she did know, she was going to keep her mouth shut. So I don't know. It was very confusing.
Paranoia. Paranoia does some fun things.
I guess so. So, so she dies. Second, it would have been great if she had woken up and then she could have gone to the cop and everything, and the
Right.
cop would know like there's two killers now, because really there was other than that guy coming home and then being murdered and then his wife being hit with the head and stuff, which that dude was I mean, after a while he was so angry, but he was so like obnoxious the whole time that you kind of wanted him to die, like you didn't care whether or not he lived or died, kind of thing.
Like a slow clap.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I'm okay. There's some people that, and then there was the two guys before that died, that were like talking about it got really weird. And I don't know how you felt about like the weird gay stuff, like the weird things that they were talking about. Like he meant one guy is talking to the other guy about apparently because he stuck something up a guy's butt.
Pencil in the butt. And I'm like,
Pencil in butt.
why?
Like what is the story? Like what is going on here?
I didn't need this in my life. Like if it was funny or ironic or something, like I get it, but this was just pencil in the butt. Why not?
Now, or if Halloween Jack hurt him, and then that's how
Mhm.
he killed him was sticking a
Right.
that would have worked. But like this story goes nowhere and does nothing for the movie.
Yes, except for make you pay attention because they said pencil and butthole, or like, yeah.
Yeah. So you're like, what? Wait, what is going on here? And then the guy's like, well, it sounds like you're the only gay one here. You stuck the pencil in the guy's butt. I was like, how's that gay? And I'm like,
Uh,
how's that, how's
really
that
mean.
normal? Like, I don't know. It got weird. Um, but I guess maybe that's UK humor too. I don't know.
I don't
Uh,
think so.
you don't think so? You think it's just dumb
I think
juvenile?
someone did a one-off. They said, "Let's try it," and maybe it'll be a hit. And at least in my opinion, it was not.
It might have been improv too. It might have been like, hey, make up an interesting story and like we'll, blah blah blah, and then they do that, and then they go, oh shit, or something. I don't know.
It
Uh,
would be something weird. If I was told I could improv, I'd tell them, "Please don't let me do that. Absolutely not."
Paul loves improv. I personally like things to be written down.
Mhm.
For me and for my cast and crew because it just gets easier. Like I don't have to, and sometimes it's fun, like we do it for our show Davila. We did improv. We took 3 takes and each take got better and better, you know,
Mhm.
because we figured out what exactly people were gonna say and how they're. And so each time you kind of just did a variation of that and it worked. Um, But for that's different. For an actual film, I don't want improv. Like I've done that before too on other people's films, and if I can, and I don't mind, but I'd prefer a script,
Understandable.
or at
Mhm.
least some kind of outline of what's gonna happen and kind of lines for me to throw up because I don't like making shit up. I'm not. Look, if I'm gonna, I better get writing credit if I'm gonna, write your fucking movie for you. you know. But I don't know if that's what happened or if they literally had a script and they said, "See these lines," and they were like, "Okay," and they said it the best that they could, and it was ridiculous. Um, I did not. Yeah. So anywho, um, what's his So Halloween, Jack kills those 2 guys. One of the guys, like I said, he picks up the I think it's called scythe. Is that what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he did like the little hand thing up
Yeah,
close.
yeah. And I love the scythe. Like that's one of my favorite like tools to look at. Because I'm like, damn, that's a tool, but that's like what you see for the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, it's very, very murdery.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So of course, I'm sure they found it or they bought one, and they were like, yes, this is it.
Yeah, it
Uh,
worked well.
Worked perfectly. So then Halloween Jack goes and starts to murder, well, he murders all those other people that we said, and including, like you said, the wife was pretty cool, like with the one woman with the getting the head, bashed in or whatever. But I
Yeah, but
wish
those
they
poor
show more of that.
cupcakes.
What?
Those poor cupcakes. So much corn syrup, ruining them.
You wouldn't have eaten that? Wouldn't have
Oh, I
eaten some
totally would have. Oh, absolutely.
bloody cupcakes? You should make
But
some bloody cupcakes. That would
oh
be
yeah, that would be fun for yeah for a movie marathon weekend or something. Bloody cupcake. That'd be pretty fun.
I'd be down with that. I'd eat those. I know Paul would.
Ditto.
Paul loves that kind of stuff. But so yeah, so we they do that. Then you find out there's also a side story with the daughter of the police chief uh
Yes.
and his and well, I guess detective. He's not even a chief.
Yeah, yeah. The
Um,
spicy. Yeah, yeah.
really, like what did you think of their relationship?
I felt it was underdeveloped and uninteresting. Like I didn't feel any connection, but at the same time, it's a trope that they do a lot and people would get into it. And I think for me, it's just like I'm so blunt and upfront that for me, it's like so difficult to imagine not just like saying, "Hey, by the way," but like I get it. I think more people would appreciate it more than I would.
With their relationship? I didn't. Like I thought it wasn't needed because nothing happened from it.
Yeah.
Really, like except he went to go protect like literally if that guy um okay, so there's one scene with the partner of the father or whatever, and the detective partner, and he's calling his daughter and stuff, and he's asking her like, "What is she wearing?" And I'm like really, like,
Yeah, their relationship was not very father-daughter. Like, are you coming to the party, Daddy?
oh no no, I'm
Daddy,
talking about the other guy,
oh,
the other
sorry.
partner. And he calls up his the girlfriend, and which is the daughter and stuff.
Got it.
He's
Mixy,
like,
mixy.
yeah, remember he goes and says, like, what are you wearing? And she's like, really? We're gonna play that right now? And he was like, yeah, why not? Whatever, right? And I'm like, dude, you're out in public. Like, why would you want like a boner? Like, because that's like literally why you ask a girl what she's wearing, and it's supposed to be like all sexy and shit. Like, you're literally like you do that when you're having like I don't know, like phone sex, right? Like you don't do that.
Yeah, no one's ever asked me, oddly enough, but I'm sure that they do.
Well, not right now. They know what you're wearing, so they can't ask you right here. But
My work dress.
but it's just weird to me, you know? Like I don't understand any of that. And then so we had that scene, and that was just strange. And then what else? Oh yeah, and then he said, "What are you wearing?" And the father comes up and overhears that. Later, he finds out that they were dating. I would have put two and two together, and be like, "Ugh, you're talking about my daughter while we were like on
Oh
an
yeah. Well, that's almost
investigation."
condescending, you know? It's like danger, danger. And I'm like, I hate that.
Really?
Yeah, like it's just like I like doing it because he doesn't know it's about his daughter kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, I don't
Uh,
that's
yeah, well, because he was apparently too much of a pussy. Is what she said to him to tell the father, and I'm like, well, you're obviously not doing very well yourself telling him,
right.
like,
She should have stood up. But
yeah, she should have done it then. Like, I mean, it's not necessarily his job, you both are in the relationship together, like you should have found some time,
sit
after,
down, get brunch, have some avocado toast, and then drop the bomb.
yeah, be like, yeah, here you go. Where I'm dating your daughter. And then he like when she actually does tell him that, he looks like he's gonna pull his gun on him. And
It does.
I'm
I
like,
was like, no.
no, what are you doing? And then he goes, here's the gun. I'm like, this dude is so milk toast that like he can't even be scary when he's about to do it. Like he's yeah. So he goes and gives him like him the gun. And so the guy's like, all right, I'm gonna go protect your daughter. I'm like, wait a minute, why doesn't he have a gun?
Oh,
Like, why did the guy have to give him his gun to go
well,
protect?
yeah,
Like,
that's a good question.
because they wanted that trick of it looking like he was going to shoot him, and then he gives him the gun. None of it made any sense other
And he was
than
just like, here, like very friendly. And I was just like, mm.
where did I mean, like, why did this happen? I have no idea, but it happened. I don't know. Um, God, like this is one of those sort of movies where they did not have a budget, so they couldn't really hire like a really good writer to like at least fix this stuff up. Plus, it was probably quick, you know? Like a lot of
Yeah,
these
I can
movies,
imagine.
they they write the script and then go right into production instead of like
Mm.
taking time, rewriting, fixing things, looking at that going, this doesn't make any sense, because then they're on set and they're like, this doesn't make who cares? Just film it. Let's just get this in the can,
Right.
put
Someone
out.
who's not invested in the characters and the world that you have built needs to read it and have to know really good story building so that if there's gaps or misunderstandings, you catch them before the viewer sees it.
Exactly. And on top of that, you've got you've got uh you've got a director who, even though he's done a bunch of directing and stuff, he's got to make this in what 10 days or whatever it is, because with
Mhm.
like very little budget, because
Yeah.
I hope there wasn't a lot of budget for this movie because it didn't look like it. I mean, the only thing I think renting out a courtroom seem like maybe, right? Like, I mean, that would be my only, and I bet they probably got that for free. Like somebody in the crew worked at the courthouse and they were like, "Hey, can we get the courthouse for free?" Like,
Hmm.
sure, why not? You know? So, Halloween Jack. So he goes on this murder spree and then this was like the ending was like so uneventful in a way. And
Smoking's bad for you.
apparently. And on top of that, so like so he comes to so at first the cool scene that they could have made cooler, but they didn't, unfortunately. But the cool scene was when he's at that like dance and he starts like, going after people, but it didn't look like anything really happened. People are just running away. And I'm like, well, the cool thing would have been if he just started just stabbing everybody. And like
Blyson.
it's just like, yeah, slicing. But I guess that would make no sense for his character who's never murdered anybody except for the people he's vengeful.
Yeah, he's just like, get the F out of my space. I'm about to wreck somebody who deserves it. Yeah.
Now I don't understand why there could even be a sequel because he murdered everybody that had to do with his death. Like,
Yeah, because then he left a pumpkin at the very end by the grave of the main character, the detective, and or what was his technical title? Sorry,
I thought it was detective.
it's detective. Yeah, yeah. So I felt like I was just like, okay, cool. So he's still here, but for who?
Right. And then the hand comes up out of the grave, which is just a was it thing with like Carrie, you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Or all horror films do that at the end. They want to leave open room for a sequel, or at least, or the idea that like one last scare, but it doesn't scare
Hmm.
you. And
No,
I don't know, like this movie isn't scary at all. Like
no, that's the thing. It isn't scary. It's a story, but it's not scary.
it's not a scary story, it's just a story
It's an
that tries to be scary, I guess. Uh,
Yeah, nothing is spooky. It's just violent. Yeah.
We forgot to mention the friend. Well, we kind of mentioned him before, but like the guy who tells him about the cult. I forgot what his name was. He had a weird name. But he was like another warlock, I guess, who was part of, and he was the alibi. And
Hmm.
he just like, when did that all come about? Like, how did that guy come to like the detective and even know about him? I don't remember. It just
Everybody important. That's all you need to know. Everyone's important.
I mean, it just shows, it just all of a sudden the guy's checking out his house and stuff. And I'm like, where did, where did you find out about this guy? I don't remember that. That's the problem with this movie is there's so many scenes. I just watched it earlier today and I can't remember shit. It just kind of, you have to watch it. And then
Blends. And I don't remember character names well. I feel like that they introduce them once or twice and then it's like, oh, good luck, everybody. Like, yeah.
you remember the grizzly guy or whatever. Cause he had
Yeah, he was the ginger, or like redheaded. Yeah.
is that a bad thing to say now?
I don't think so, but I don't think so. But some people don't like it because like South Park did the Gingers Have No Souls episode, so
I mean, but but they do it and it's funny. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Clearly a giant joke and actually making fun of the people who are jerks about, that.
Yeah, about gingers, which I don't think that's it's not like because saying the word gypsy or something apparently now
That, yes.
is not cool, which I never thought for a while. Like I just always known that word as being like I never thought of it as a derogatory word. And then when people pointed that out to me, I was like, oh crap, you can't say that. And I mean I just did here, but I don't think, people understand I'm not saying it like that. And now they want to be referred to as travelers, or whatever.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, interesting. That's kind of I mean, it's a better term,
Yeah.
I get it.
Because I think that was it that the word meant like gyp to gyp you off? Was that what I think that's why it was not considered PC, and understandably so.
Interesting. I didn't even put those two and two together. Like, I just thought that was a different word for a different country, or something, and we just went with it.
You know what? We could have also come up with our own garbage with it, but like I'm not into the lore of why that word is no good. I just know it's no good and therefore don't use it.
Yeah. Well, it still sucks because it's still like it can become part of my vocabulary sometimes just because like it's been part of my vocabulary. So
Right. It
I
wasn't introduced as something derogatory, therefore it's a little hard to switch it back in the brain because you see nothing bad or wrong with it.
right. So yeah, so I've never thought about ginger, but maybe that is a word that we should, I don't know. No, if I don't think it's a derogatory word. I think it's
I
just
don't
a
think so.
way
I
to
think I'm just
describe
overthinking it. I've been
somebody.
on Facebook too long.
Well, I think that somebody might complain and say something if you say that. Oh, like you can't say that anymore. You're gonna be canceled for saying that. Like, you know, that's a freaking it's a word to describe a red-haired person, you know?
Hmm.
But anyway, so yeah, that guy. So there's like most of the people didn't have names or character things. Like I don't even remember I remember there's a bunch of Tramers or something. And I think that was interesting because I think that was a character name in Halloween, the original
Hmm.
Halloween movie. There was and I think that was like the reference, which is kind of cool if they do that. I mean, I love the movie Halloween, and this is called Halloween Jack, so you would think that maybe there would be some references to the original Halloween, just because we're doing an indie film, why not, right?
Yeah, yeah. Could
And
have.
you, as a innocent bystander who doesn't watch these at all, like really, wouldn't normally pick that up and stuff. You would just watch and go, okay, there's a name called Tramer. Um, but yeah, so there's probably other references that I just either didn't understand or didn't hear because
Hmm.
like I had to keep the subtitles on for sure. And there were some things like I was just like, people are talking too fast or whatever. Just couldn't understand exactly what they were saying, you know.
Hmm.
Um, so, but all in all, it wasn't the worst movie we've ever seen. I mean, you already know what your worst movie that we've shown you already is, and we're
I
not
will
gonna,
say it for respect for Paul.
yeah.
Roller Gator. Oops. No, he already knows I hated it, but I'm glad I had the experience. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, and it's like for me, honestly, it's one of those things where I may not like because Paul showed me a lot of movies I may never watch again, most likely. But I'm very glad I've seen them so that I know never to watch them again. Kind of thing.
I just
Um,
never watched anything at that level of that level. Like you know what I mean? Like the sound quality being so low, the video quality being so low. I've
oh
never
man,
experienced that.
you really have not. Oh man, you really have not
No.
been part of Indie Film Cafe enough long enough.
No, I have
You
not. No,
you
I've
will.
I've
You're
I've been
about to be
doing.
indoctrinated pretty soon, because everybody's just so you know, Steph will be back for Indie Film Cafe season 8, and she'll be one of the first ones up for the like the first episode back, and I've got a bad one for her.
Oh
I've got
no.
because my plan for season 8 is to do. And I talked to Paul about this, but uh we're gonna do like I don't know how many, maybe 9 each that are going to be like that we think are tens, which is
Mhm.
like the worst or
Oh,
whatever.
good.
And that's
Fantastic.
like so that's half of both of ours, right? Like because we only get 18 each, so for the year, so that's like half of ours that we will try to have, and so that will have 18 tens. So you'll I think. Now the problem is like, somebody may say like, "Oh, that wasn't a 30. That was a 29. I'll give it a 9 or a 9.5, instead." And stuff like we got a lot of that where we're like, "Really, this is the 30 for us. This is a 10 for us." It's
Hmm.
that bad. And that's in our stinkometer for people
Yes.
who might be a little confused as to what I'm talking about. But stinkometer is 1 to 10, 10 being very, very bad, and 1 being very, very good. And we, based on stink. And so yeah, it's got a lot. Roller Gator, I think Roller Gator didn't get as high up when we did it, because we kind of liked it. I don't know. Uh,
Hmm.
I still think I put it up pretty bad. I think I might have given it 8, the stinkometer. I think you would have given it a 10. Uh,
Hmm.
but I don't know. It's been a while. We are gonna do at some point a thing where we're gonna relook at all the scores that we've gone throughout the years and maybe redo some,
Recalibrate.
recalibrate, say like, look, this been some time since the first season. Let's look at that and see which ones are I don't know, like not nearly as bad as we remember,
Mhm.
or worse than we remembered or something, or we think worse of it, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, this one, I mean, we're not going to be doing a stinkometer rating for this because, um, it, there's only 2 people, on these shows, so we don't do that. But I
We
mean,
could count Dio. I can ask my dog.
did he watch it with you?
He did. He did. He was a good boy. He
Did he
watched
like
all.
it?
He liked the cuddles. They were free.
He liked the cuddles that you
Yeah.
got while watching it. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much how you did it. So you held him like that the whole time, right? While you were watching it.
It's like I have a newborn. I don't know why I hold him like a baby, but
He likes
eh,
it.
he does. He's cutie. But no,
Yeah.
I did watch it with him, and he slept through the whole thing. So that tells you how he felt about it. He felt
He
like a
slept.
dog.
He acted like a dog when he watched it.
Yeah,
That's
he got
funny.
the cuddles.
That's cute. Um, but yeah, I'm glad Dio got to enjoy it with you. At least you got someone. I don't think my dog. Yeah, I watched it early this morning, and then I finished the last 10 minutes. Which wasn't much. Like
Yeah, yeah.
much happened there. It was already everything had already finished. Uh,
Hmm.
and stuff by then. And so the last 10 minutes, and then like really it was like last 5 minutes because the rest of the 5 minutes was like so there's like basically 5 minutes of like opening credits where they do some kind of weird like public domain film stuff like with like Plan 9 from Outer Space and
Yeah.
White Zombie and a bunch of other Nightmare or Night of the Living Dead, and they have all these clips, and then they would show the people's names and come back to the clips, show people's names, and that was supposed to, I guess, give the Halloween kind of spooky vibe or whatever. And I kind of liked it, but it kind of went on too long. And so lately, and this has been going on for like I don't know a bunch of years now. If you watch Hollywood movies, most of the time they don't have opening credits, you know,
No.
because
Mhm.
it slows the movie down, like we live in an age where people can turn the dial like this, Somebody watch Legend of Halloween Jack and if they're not reviewing the movie, they're just watching it for fun, and the first 5 minutes is just these credits, they're gonna change the channel, you know.
Yeah.
They're
It's
gonna
not good
go.
for for longevity of the consumer consuming it. Yeah.
And so I used to get mad when I go, oh my, because opening credits are fun for me. If they're really done well, I enjoy them. But unfortunately, most of the time they're not very done well. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no problem. Um, so anyway, yeah, it was kind of that, like 5 minutes there, then 5 minutes later. So even though it was an hour and 24 minutes, it was really an hour and 14-minute movie,
Yeah. It
you know.
felt short. It did, which was actually I appreciate it. I feel like they couldn't have really added too much more.
Yeah, I wouldn't want them to because the ending of the thing with them at the dance thing, and then they shoot the guy, right? They shoot the guy because they don't know he's a ghost, I guess, and he comes
Mm-hmm.
back, and then they shoot him again, and I'm like, wouldn't you tell your dad like he ain't dead, like he got up like a few minutes ago, like after we already shot him, and then so they were gonna leave, and then there's like, we can't leave without you. He goes, okay. And they start walking together, and then he locks them out, and I guess blows up the place with him in it.
He lights the cigarette, right?
Yeah, and then
He's like, "We're going to hell." And then,
well, at first he was like, I'll see you in heaven," and he was like, "Who am I kidding? I'll see you in hell." And I'm like,
yep.
"The
He's
fuck?"
like, "Oh, you tried to be badass. Yes, you did."
Yeah, didn't really work for that guy.
No, he was too, like you said, milk toast.
Yeah, he's too nice. Like he's too.
Soft and squishy. Yeah.
You
Yes,
see,
he.
the way that writing works, is if you're going to have like a milk toast guy, right?
Hmm.
You have him by the middle of it, he gets badass, right? Gets a little badass. Like he starts to like, there's like degrees of badassness. And then at the end, he's like super badass, and he's, shooting people, whatever, right? He's doing all these things that he would not have done. In TV, they do it quickly, in the pilot of the movie or the pilot of the show, like Breaking Bad. You ever seen Breaking Bad?
I watched a little bit and I did appreciate. Yeah.
So like the pilot to it is he's meek and weak and he finds out he has cancer and then he's just like
Yep.
fuck it. And I like
He's
this.
like, "I'm gonna do what I want and
I'm
make some
gonna
money for my family." Hmm.
exactly. I'm gonna do this and if I get busted, I have nothing else holding me back. I'm
Nothing to
dying.
lose because I'm gonna die anyways. Yeah.
I'm gonna die anyway. And then we get 5 seasons of him not dying, and everything.
It
Um
was that good, I guess. Yeah.
Right, because I don't know if what they thought, but like, yeah. So I get they probably didn't think a movie about a guy making meth and like a normal guy goes and makes meth would become a you know big hit, but it did. And
Yeah.
but like I said, like in the beginning of it, he was this milk toast guy. He was meek.
Hmm.
Everybody kind of walked all over him, and then there's like one scene where he like I know the scene exactly where he changes, but like his son is being made fun of by like these kids. They're just being assholes to his son who's mentally handicapped and
Hmm.
or
Oh yeah, I
disabled.
remember.
And he
Disabled. Yeah.
and he goes and grabs them and like beats the crap out of them and then kicks them out of the store and stuff. But he never would have done that before. He would have
Yeah.
just let them go. And he had that moment where he had the choice of whether to do that. This movie did not have any of that. And then, and obviously, the writer, Andrew Jones, writes movies and then just gets them made, and that's great. But
Hmm.
like when you're really writing something, you need to have, especially a character like that guy who's gonna have that big epic moment at the end. I didn't feel like it earned it because he really wasn't a badass throughout the rest of it. He was just this kind of guy who's just, right? And like
Hmm.
he could have had a moment where he didn't like his daughter dating that guy, you know? And
Nope.
that's
Jolly good with it.
right. And that's because the guy was nice. This is where things need. I'm gonna talk real quick to the film horror filmmakers out there right now, indie horror filmmakers. If you're going to make a movie that like this where it's like where you're supposed to care about the characters in some way,
Mhm.
right? um and you want to have that relationship, you got to make the one cop of the nice good cop and the partner an asshole.
Yeah.
Women do like assholes, and stuff. And then you got to have that because there's got to be some kind of drama and some friction. If you
Hmm.
have these two scenes or the scene where this guy it's like, "Oh, I got something to tell you. I'm dating your daughter," and stuff like that. And then there's just like stop for a second and then, okay, sure. Like
Hmm.
there's nothing happens. And it's just like, but if he didn't like the guy at all and didn't feel like he was right for his daughter and stuff and hated that guy, there could be a good moment there, some good drama. Otherwise, just don't have it in the movie. It's not
Yeah.
needed, you know?
Yeah.
Didn't push the
Absolutely.
story along. If there was some drama and some tension, you'd actually care about the characters. Otherwise, most of these characters you could just kill and nobody bat an eye.
Hmm.
Last
Exactly.
last thing I want to say is like there's that guy. So we talked about the guy that was telling that joke and everything. Was he supposed to be a teenager?
The guy who what again? Sorry.
The guy who was telling the joke, the really bad
I hope
uh
he wasn't supposed to be a teenager.
he was supposed to be, but didn't he look like he was in his like 30s? Like he looked old for a teenager.
He was a double teenager. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked much older than what he was supposed to be. And look, I get that people used to do that, but nowadays you can actually hire teenagers or people just above teenagers, like
Right.
20,
21, even
21,
24.
that look like teenagers. Don't hire
Yeah.
somebody who looks like they're in their 30s. And he may have been a teenager. I don't know, but he looked like he was in his 30s. And I just didn't buy it. I was like, that
If he was a teenager, I apologize right now to the actor.
actor, because that means he's got that like Benjamin Button kind of thing going on there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, it was weird. It was such uh all in all, I like I said before, I didn't hate the movie. I just didn't really enjoy it. There were a lot of problems I had. The writing was the worst, and as Paul always says, writing is something that that is free in a way, you know? Like
Hmm.
you just give it to somebody, anybody, to take a look at it, and if they think something's wrong with it, they'll tell you, should tell you. Whoever,
Yeah.
trust somebody that will let you know. I don't give it a Paul necessarily anymore because I sometimes do, but like I feel like Paul and I don't have the same sense, we're different generations, we're different
Yeah.
things. So when I give him something like that, he'll complain about this and that, and I'm like, but that's like the way movies are made, like, like that's how it is, or whatever. But if he complains about like stuff like cop stuff, like he'd probably watch this movie and complain about all the cop stuff. Cops wrong, cop stuff's wrong, or whatever. And I'm sure most of it was wrong. Don't necessarily remember anything specific, but um, like it, I just didn't feel like any of the cop stuff was utilized well enough.
Hmm.
But would I suggest this? Would I recommend this? Probably. Why not? I mean, I would say if you're in the mood for something for Halloween, why not? And
Yeah.
it's coming out around Halloween. I would say check it out, you know,
Yeah,
and
visually it looks nice. Soundtrack could use some work, and the writing could use some work, but it looks nice.
the acting could use work, you know.
Yeah, but it did not offend me like some other indie movies have. But I think if they could have kind of added more character development along with some more tension, like you said, have more bad copy, good copy kind of thing going on, or at least
Yeah,
some tension that wasn't just like Scarecrow gonna get me kind of thing. Like it'd be nice to see more of that, but it was kind of like everybody happy until they're murdered, or like everyone's I don't know. Yeah, you're like it would have been nice to have a little more terror in that.
I agree. Like I just feel like that was one of the biggest problems is just there just was a lack of like I don't know, anything scary like.
Hmm.
And there could have been, there could have been
Yeah.
tension, there could have been suspense, there could have been horror, and there just wasn't because I don't think they cared enough. Like I think literally once again this is just a movie they spit out and they knew they could make. It had very little locations. They tried to make it as interesting as they could.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it could have been a lot better. I don't know how never seen Curse of Halloween Jack yet. I do want to watch it, but I just haven't seen it yet. So
Next time.
next time, maybe. I don't know. I'm worried about that. I think Andrew Jones is a good director.
Hmm.
He was a good director, I'm sorry. And I think he had talent. I think a lot of it was quick everything. I
Hmm.
think as an indie filmmaker, you don't want to rush, you know.
Yeah, I'll have to check out some of his other films because again, it looked nice and it's hard for me to find indie films that I feel looks nice. Oh my goodness, I'm already seeing a weird one. Oh my. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to look through his list.
What
Interesting.
what did you
Jurassic
say?
Predator. Oh my God.
I think
That looks
I might have that or something. I don't know, but I've heard of it. I know I heard of it. And I think most of these things are on Tubi, by the way. A lot of
oh my
his
God,
movies
is
are
that like
on
a freaking World War II werewolf movie?
Jurassic Predator.
No, 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 Werewolves of the Third Reich.
Oh yeah, that's probably yeah. They do a lot of Nazi werewolf stuff. These-
Hi. Oh my
Uh,
goodness. Okay,
my
well,
favorite thing was seeing a Nazi shark movie. It's called Sharkenstein.
okay. That I mean, whatever, man. I will say, if you do the sequel, it has. I think this one had like a what three on IMDb. This one had like a 3.3, I believe. The sequel has a 2.5.
Oh,
So,
the
so
sequel is hated more. All
oh
right.
yeah. So that's a now you have to,
Now
you
I
know.
have
Now,
to watch it. I don't know. I think I haven't announced this yet or anything because it's not official, but I think next year will be my last 31 days of indie horror just because it is a lot of work to get these done before whatever with all the other junk I'm doing, you know.
hmm
And like I wouldn't be able to do this like in like October, where I do like one a day. Could not do that.
hmm
Like that's just not I think I tried that and that was just way too much work and drove me crazy. I got it
Yeah.
done, but like that meant that literally that was all I could probably focus on at that time and stuff. So I will not do that again. That's why I do it kind of like this is done in July and hopefully everything would be done in by September before everything is released, you know.
Yeah.
But
It's a lot of work.
yeah, it's a lot of work for 31 days. But I love to look back at those episodes that I did and be like, wow. Sometimes I forget, like I keep remember I did watch this movie, and I'm wondering if I did review this movie already. But if I did, I'm pretty sure it was by myself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um,
Not with Dio.
not well, man. I wish well, Dio will be coming down with you, right?
Yes, he will.
Plan.
So he'll be ready.
That sounds like I mean that's what I want. I want Dio down with us, watching the movies with us, sitting on the couch, coming to the studio with us.
Oh, he'll have a blast.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm trying to see. So did I review it? Because I know if I did, I did it by myself. So like
Mhm.
I said, I know I was reviewing a bunch of these um things, and then guess no, I did a Ouija Geist.
Oh, that sounds goofy.
Yeah. It's not as good as it sounds. Like a lot of these I did them because they were like I was doing a thing where I was like each Friday I was for that whole month I was doing like a specific genre kind of thing. So I did like
Hmm
a shark movie and I did a movie called Bait. I
Okay.
did Amityville Witches because I want to do an Amityville movie, Ouija Geist, and then I did a doll movie called Evil Tale. And so
Mhm.
yeah, I don't think I reviewed this. Good. I'm happy about that because I don't want, you know, I don't, I don't want to redo do something. But I think I know I did watch this a couple times all the way through, so I'd seen it a couple times. And so you know, would I watch it again? Maybe. I mean, especially during Halloween time, it's just a simple movie to have on. You know,
Yeah, it's
you know,
mindless and easy.
you don't have to pay attention.
Nope.
No, just know that there's somebody going around murdering people,
Yeah.
in a scarecrow costume. That's it. Um,
hmm
so I am looking forward to. Let's do a you know, uh, Curse of Halloween Jack next year.
I'm into it.
All right, because if it's worse, oh boy, I don't know. It's so I just hope that I'm guaranteeing they have not learned anything about the writing and whatnot. So we'll
No,
see.
no.
But all right, well, thank you, Steph. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks for having me again.
yeah, and join me next tomorrow for a brand new episode. And we look forward to that. So thank you guys so much, and talk to you guys later. And Steph, do you want to stick around for a second? Um,
Oh,
but everybody have a good one. Bye.